Everyone, I'm Susan Prescott here again, and it's my privilege to be co-creating the inVIVO quest with all of you. This has been an incredible journey so far, and in many ways we are still just crossing the threshold to something with far, far greater potential. This gathering has been about sharing so much more than our data. It has been about sharing our passion, our spirit, and our desire for change. And I want to begin with something that Trevor Hancock said in our first session, and that is that we're all made of star stuff, the ultimate reminder of our connectivity to all things. And it is a perspective that inspires our awe, our wonder, our love, our hope, and our respect for each other and all of life. These are recurring themes through every session in our conference, as we have been reminded of the importance of recognising the connections between the material realms that we're familiar with and the great mysteries of the spiritual realms, which are no less real because we don't understand them, realising that these are not in fact separate. These sacred wisdoms, of course, have been preserved in traditional cultures, but it's wonderful to see that these are beginning to resurface in all societies, perhaps as another measure of our connectivity and our shared collective consciousness. I'm sure that you will agree that together we have created a mosaic of perspectives, not just for a clearer picture of possibility, but for the spirit of hope and connectivity that we've generated in that process. And that is what it's all about. As we all connect our work to the bigger picture with shared purpose, we empower and magnify the potential for change. Our agenda is all about changing the story, and that too has been an incredibly consistent theme throughout this meeting. In particular, a core theme of inVIVO has been about overcoming the stories that have separated and divided and compartmentalised health, and science in particular, but really all aspects of society. It's literally dissected out the awe, the wonder, and the vitality of life. We must also continue to promote integrated approaches in the broadest possible sense, recognising connectivity across all scales, from our deep biology to the spiritual purpose that inspires all of us towards discovery, both self-discovery and the ways that we can improve opportunities and experience for all people and the health of our places, our planet, remembering always the far-reaching transgenerational implications of everything that we're doing. Although we take this very seriously, we do have a lot of fun doing it, and that's another recurring theme for inVIVO. It's our love for what we do, how much fun we have, and the joy that we inspire in sharing it, as you will see from our photo albums. As Blake said, if it's not fun, it's not sustainable. So for those of you joining us for the first time, you're rapidly realising that this is not a conference, it's a community, a global community that is diverse in every sense, with common values, common vision, shared passion, purpose and creativity. We also courageously go to the deep roots of where change really needs to begin, not just the foundational ecosystems, but the foundational value systems which govern all that we do and all that we are. Our attitudes, our choices, and our actions. These are the deeper conversations that are often neglected or even deliberately avoided on many agendas. We must recognise that we can only solve the many challenges, the many interdependent challenges on our world today, if we address the spiritual decay and, as Cornel West would say, the moral decrepitude. There's no doubt that the old ways are failing. Broken systems are damaging health, our social fabric, our natural environments, and the broken spirit is manifest in increasingly polarised agendas. A number of our speakers have already discussed the deliberate deception and manufactured reality, not just in the boom of advertising and manufactured need for unhealthy products of all kinds since the 1950s, but then this new infodemic of propaganda and misinformation, manipulating perceptions of our entire reality. This creed of power and greed has dominated the global agenda, concentrated in the hands of the few, resulting in grotesque injustices and inequalities. These dynamics are unnatural and unsustainable in any ecosystems, and there's a pressing need for recalibration and rebalance. As individuals, we have enormous power, but there have been large-scale efforts to maintain a status quo for the benefits of these vested interests, distracting us, reinforcing polarised narratives, often false, and building powerlessness, hopelessness, and consequent inaction, which is their point. However, it's good to see so many efforts on multiple fronts now to try and raise the curtains on awareness of the algorithms that are manipulating us. So it's all about awareness. This is the age of awareness. And with awareness, we can help lift that curtain. When we're aware, we can choose, and we can make others aware of their choices as well. Indeed, awareness is the first step towards transformation as individuals and as societies. Once we have awareness, we can't go back. It allows us to see both the challenges and the possibilities and to make meaningful choices. With awareness, we can be more mindful of our attitudes to ourselves, to others, and all things, and to choose attitudes that serve all best. This is all amplified by awareness of our connectivity. It helps us expand from intellectualizing concepts to experiencing that connectivity through awe and wonder, which brings greater gratitude and hope. From there, we can easily unleash our creative power to imagine a better future for ourselves personally, which is where everything must begin, to working with others to imagine healthier communities and flourishing places for all. And I particularly like the way Rob Moody described it. Imagining is a wonderful way to give structure to our hope. And that is the very purpose of this conference. Our thoughts and shared imaginings are much more powerful than we realise. In fact, this meeting is a perfect example, created from nothing but a small but powerful thought in early October. And this is just the beginning. We're continuing to create a new story together, including how we might tell it. We are exploring avenues to continue that narrative after this meeting, to influence other conversations and build the hope generated through action in what Blake described as a pandemic of possibility. Indeed, a number of us have already been discussing specifically how we can continue the Earthrise conversation. And in considering this, we've been inspired by a 1980s project by Omni, which I want to share with you. They invited people, a diverse group of citizens of the world, to imagine their utopia, the best possible future, no matter how remote or impractical. After all, they said, summoning the vision is the first step to bringing it to life. They mostly approached high-profile leaders across sectors and cultures, but we would hope to do this in a much more expansive, inclusive way. They did anticipate that people would describe generic, unfocused ideas trying to look good, but they actually shared specificity, revealing personal perspectives and biases. And most importantly, there were dominant themes, despite those differences. And those themes were around peace, equity, reducing hunger, disease, injustice, and promoting both the science and the arts, creativity, love, kindness, and the protection of nature. All of the things, curiously enough, that have been resonating during this meeting when we asked all of you to consider these things. Many of those participants described feeling nourished and strengthened by the exercise. It promoted a sense of expansiveness and a shared purpose in the very act of participating and imagining. And we feel that this could be the basis of a multidimensional project that could engage and inspire a mutualistic change narrative, building on the understanding of the power of attitudes, choices, and intentions, both for shaping our personal and our collective realities. Given that stories create our world, we know that they are also how we can change it. So building on that dialogue we are already generating through this first conference, we are really well placed to extend that and broaden this original quest to capture and connect the visions of citizens of all of the world on a much larger scale and in a much more diverse population. And we could do this through both scientific and creative pathways, and in all ages, and that of course includes our children, for what our children can teach us through their creations and their visions. Indeed, Get Another Omni initiative provides a perfect example of the power of children in shaping our future, and that was the 1986 American-Soviet Children's Art Project. Children on both sides of the Cold War were asked to imagine the future And this is what they saw: a desire for unity, peace and possibility in a time when that did not even seem possible. This led to cultural exchange school programs between the warring nations. Their powerful simplicity cut through the paper walls of bureaucracy and the walls constructed from fear and prejudice, only a matter of years before their vision became a reality. Earlier in our meeting, you saw the beautiful artwork of the elementary school children in Baltimore, shared by Alana Berman, after she talked to them about the power of imagination and then invited them to share their visions with you. What she didn't tell you was just how much this meant to those families. Many are living in very difficult circumstances, but participating in this small way had a really profound and meaningful effect on them. And they were so grateful to share their thoughts with you. And I know that many of their efforts deeply touched your hearts as well. Another example of that meaningful possibility through connectivity. Just a few weeks ago, I was also talking to some medical students. Many were equally inspired, but some were cynical, and one said this was all very nice, but had no meaning in a so-called real world. But the children in Baltimore see it very differently. And that small example alone shows that small things can make a big difference, and sharing those stories magnifies change. We've seen so many other examples in this conference alone. And as Deepak Chopra reminded us the other day, it's already happening. We are doing it now. So this is something that everyone can be part of. Improving life on our planet should not be by invitation only. All citizens of the world have the capacity for imagination, kindness and joy, so all are qualified to join. And to quote Rollo May, what if imagination and art are not, as many of us might think, the frosting on life, but the fountainhead of human experience? He also said that blocking our capacity for wonder and the capacity to appreciate mystery can have serious effects on our psychological health, not to mention the health of our whole planet. So going forward, we propose to develop these ideas further through a dynamic, iterative conversation with both formal and informal activities, research and creative work. And we anticipate that sharing emergent themes will only reinforce them and build hope, imagination and connectivity further. And judging from the numerous emails I've already have from many of you, this is already happening. We hope that this will provide opportunities to also examine the process itself, the benefits it might have for individuals as well as groups. We may well ask the question, can individual utopian thinking lead to a positive contagion on larger scales? In the end, we also hope this will help normalise more meaningful values and self-development in all challenges. This, of course, brings us right back to the fundamental question that we posed at the outset. It is an evolving question, one that we should revisit in all that we do and in all that we love. And that is, what kind of world do we want to live in? So that brings me to close the formal part of this meeting. It is by no means the end of the conversation, and we will have our final campfire, our next campfire meeting in just a few hours. This is an opportunity for me to thank some very important people who have assisted in this process. I want to begin by thanking our chairs and speakers that have made this meeting possible. I also want to thank Brian and Sue Berman and all the staff, scholars and fellows at the Institute for Integrative Health. Many of them have been contributors to this meeting and have provided support in so many ways. They will all be an ongoing important part of inVIVO going forward. Thank you also to our Board of Directors for their support and many contributions. But in particular, I want again to thank my partner in life and in work, which for us is the same thing, Alan Logan. for his vision and guidance in constructing this program. Together with your help, we've pulled together what I'm sure you will agree is an epic program in just a matter of weeks. Finally, I really want to thank Ben Thompson and his team at ComCorp, because without them, this would not have happened at all. They literally worked around the clock through the night in Melbourne. So with that, I want to thank you all again and invite you to join this continuing conversation. This is not the end, it's just the beginning. And here is the video that started it all as our calling card for inspiration. Thank you all again.